I mean, diversity is absolutely crucial to BAE Systems and the wider engineering manufacturing sector, because we are going through a growth phase, following from the pandemic. BAE Systems this year recruiting 2,600 apprentices and graduates. Unless we're appealing to everyone, we won't meet our targets. And there's also sort of evidence also that an inclusive culture is a more successful culture in terms of being more productive, but also being more happy. So we want to meet our business needs, but also we want to be a better, more productive and a happier place to work in. And lastly, we also know that we're based in our local communities. We need to draw upon those communities. And people from all backgrounds, including those who may have had some more difficulties in terms of A-levels or GCSEs or things like that. So we want to draw people from all backgrounds because we thrive, because those communities thrive. BAE Systems has put a strategy in place to engage a more inclusive pipeline. And that involves reaching right back into primary school. So we've got our Schools Roadshow that engages children 9 to 12. And last year we met the major target of meeting the 1 millionth child through that programme. In addition to that, we also have work experience, and we've got about 1,000 people of our STEM ambassadors who are supporting work experience across the country, provide over 600 placements. Our STEM ambassadors, typically apprentices and graduates, they're young people, good role models. Of them, 40% are female, 10% are minorities, so we want to know it's important to be representative of the people we're actually aiming to target and reach into. And from social mobility perspective, we're also we're a founder member of Movement to Work. So we've actually sort of embracing young and employed people and provide a pathway for them into work, providing over 100 placements each year. And behind all this, we've got ambitious targets. So we're actually aiming for 40% of our apprentices and graduates to be female by 2026, which when you benchmark that against less than 10% of the population in engineering apprentices being female, it's a tough target. We wouldn't be able to meet our big growth targets if we hadn't attracted that diversity to which I've referred to. And in fact, this year in 2023, we had seen a 35% increase in the number of female applicants to our apprentice programs. So that's a great place to be. There have been some fantastic results that we can report. First, in respect of gender, last year, in 2022, of our 1,000 apprentices, nearly 30% of them were female. And if you compare that with the national averages, less than 10% in England, or indeed 3% in Scotland, that's a good place to be. From social mobility, more than a quarter of our intake last year of apprentices were from the most disadvantaged postcodes in the country. So again, that's a big impact we've made. Again, last year, 60% of our apprentices and graduates were recruited in the north of England, which from a levelling up perspective is a strong message to be able to play back about how we're supporting communities outside here, down in the southeast of England. Just under 20% of our intake last year of apprentices has some form of inclusive learning needs, so whether it's disability or neurodiversity, and that compares with about 15% of the average cohort across education. So again, it's a very strong message to be able to say how we're supporting people from all different types of background. I believe that we should win an award based upon how we've worked, the journey we've made and where we've got to. So literally having moved from less than 5% of our apprentice intake being female to now being around about 30%, it's a huge move that we've made. Also at a time when actually we've more than doubled the number of apprentices that we've got in training. And where we've doubled that number, the biggest growth has actually been in those areas like welding, typical craft type apprenticeships, where it's most difficult to attract women.
So we've been working hard to increase the number of women into engineering, and we set ourselves an ambitious target of 50-50 gender parity across all our early careers programmes by 2025. We set this target on International Women's Day in 2021, and by 2022 for recruitment we'd achieved 52% females in apprenticeships, 47% for graduates and 50% for interns. From an education perspective, Siemens are bringing STEM to life in the classroom and at home by inspiring young people. We have lots of education resources, tools and games that we're using to inspire those people. We've run several virtual work experience programs with over 5,000 students across Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4, and the participants on those programs have been 39% women and 58% from Black, Asian, minority ethnic groups. I think we should win this award because we can share this best practice with others, we can inspire others, and it keeps us motivated to do more.
Diversity, equity and inclusion are so important to Siemens and to everyone in our sector because it's the only way that we can succeed and thrive. Siemens is about transforming the everyday. We're about innovation and solving the world's problems. And we can't do that unless we have all sorts of different ideas and perspectives from different types of people, from different backgrounds, who challenge us and help us to make the best decisions and come up with those innovative solutions for our customers. It's so important that we don't just focus on bringing in diverse talent. Unless we really hear their voices and unless we see them in all areas of our business, in different seniority levels and in different functions, then we're really not getting the benefit of all their different ideas and perspectives. So to do that, we have our employee networks. They connect groups of individuals from perhaps different minority groups and help them feel that sense of belonging, and they also advocate for certain issues that might be important to them. As well as that, we have developed some programs to support the progression of individuals from different racial groups and also for women, so that they are also achieving their potential and able to reach senior levels. I think we should win this award because we've got a really comprehensive program. We are working across different functions and across the organisation. There are people who are passionate about this. So it isn't just one particular group, it's really in our DNA.
Diversity is so important because, for one, I'm a chartered civil engineer and I work specifically in flood and coastal risk management. And it's a sphere where you really get to see the impact of climate change and the changing climate, really. And when I think about the existential crisis that we're facing, I know that we need different minds to help us solve it. And I know that actually the key thing that we need to make this happen is really diversity. Because diversity to me means innovation. When we have a space where everyone can come and they can be their best self, they can feel included, they can really thrive. And when people thrive in spaces, they're able to reach their zenith potential, and that's where innovation happens. Well, I've been championing diversity and inclusion for maybe 3-4 years now. Actually, it really aligns with my own personal journey. You see, one of the key things that really happened for me was a couple of years back, coming out publicly and talking about my diagnosis of Asperger's and being on the autistic spectrum. And this to me meant going on that journey to accept myself. But in doing that, I started to really think, how can I also take other people on a journey to accept themselves and to feel included? And that was the, I think, real pinnacle of actually like galvanizing me on this journey to be like, I'm going to be an advocate. I'm going to be the voice for those who haven't quite been able to say, this is what I am, and being proud of that. So I wanted to do that for everyone else. And I was like, I really think this is important, and I'm going to commit, my life's work to doing this. I've seen huge impact of the work I've been doing. The impact's been on an individual level, people feeling more equipped to be themselves. And one thing that we don't often do is really measure the impact of the difference in one person's life and how that cascades through society. So if one person feels more included, they're allowed to include other people, they're able to use their voice, advocate for other people, and that actually has this knock-on effect where they're reaching their zenith potential at work, they're performing better, they're feeling better as an individual, they're healthier. It's that sphere of influence, and that's the stuff that I'm really able to be passionate and proud of. It's also purpose, when everyone finds that purpose, they're able to do even better things. They're able to move from a model of dealing in their deficits, which has been a historical model for everyone that's othered in systems. But by really pushing on this diversity inclusion, people move to a strength-based model where they know what they're good at and then they use it, and we all benefit from that. The challenges on the journey to really increasing diversity and inclusion have been primarily trying to create that safe space. Some of these conversations are challenging, they feel uncomfortable, right? So we all have to create that greater safety for people so they feel like they can psychologically be contained and they can express things wrongly sometimes and go on that journey to learn more. So I think that was the initial challenge. How do I create safety for people so that we can have these conversations and come up with a better way of doing things? And I think once we're able to overcome that, I actually saw that more people were interested in this than I would have initially thought. So it was also challenging my idea of the resistance I was going to feel, because lots of people had feelings that they themselves felt of being othered and being in a minority for things that I didn't even see, the invisible differences. So it was about actually widening my scope of what it meant for people to be othered and different, and to then go on that journey to include them too and let them be part of the work and be an ally with me. And that's incredible, really, because it's gone from worrying about the challenges and standing against each other and almost in adversity and battling against each other, to standing side by side, looking at the problem and thinking, we're going to do this together. To win would be incredible. You know, we all do amazing things because it aligns with our values. Like, my values are freedom, truth, and ultimately living aligned with my purpose. I want to make the world better because I existed. It's why I picked my very first profession at the age of 9. And I'm always trying to gain new skills and knowledge and experience and competence to really add value. But often I think I forget about the part that other people are telling me that I'm doing a good job. It's nice to hear it. It's not the thing that I'm looking for, but when I do receive it, it's really nice. So to be recognised in something that I'm so passionate about and I believe so wholeheartedly about would be really overwhelming. I'd probably cry a lot.